good, y'all? This is Ranger Art 93. Welcome back to my content. It's been a long time since I uploaded any videos on here, but I noticed that we're almost at 300 subscribers on this art channel, so I do appreciate y'all for supporting my content, even if I don't upload on this constantly, like every day, which I'm planning on to starting 2022. And trust me when I say this, I got big plans coming in 2022 in January, which we're going to be doing the most detailed art videos every single day. I don't care how long it's going to take me to get one picture down, but just know that it will be done. So make sure y'all get ready for that. One of my loyal subscribers actually requested for me to do a reaction to the sad truth about being a manga artist. Now, granted, I used to be a huge fan of manga anime, and I think this is coming from an artist like myself. And I think it was around 2007 when I met my friend Preston. He was a huge anime fanatic. He drew Danny Phantom, shout out to Preston. He drew like Danny Phantom in anime style. And I used to be a huge fan of his work. I'm like, dude, how do you draw anime so good? Like, that kind of makes me want to step my game up when it comes to anime world. And you wonder why a lot of manga books are the most popular ones than American comic versions, in my honest opinion. Even David Finch himself actually admitted during his live streams that a lot of manga books are the most popular ones than American comic books. And we all know what happens in the American comic book industries, because everything is just 100% woke now. Gender swapping everywhere is just messed up all around. You know what? At the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. As, you know, an artist myself, all I can do is just give y'all the best art content that there is. So we're here to check out the sad truth about being a manga artist. So enough rambling, let's get to the video.
Truth is that being a manga writer is essentially voluntary enslavement. Meeting deadlines, living up to fan expectations, company expectations, and their own expectations as writers, thinking up a plot. Today I will go into the sad and dark reality of being a manga author and the extreme toll it's taken on countless authors to this day. After getting picked up by a big publishing company like Shonen Jump, though you would expect it to get easier from there, this is far from the truth for mangakas. There are no breaks. The weekly schedule for most mangakas relies on less than 6 hours of sleep every day.
It's funny because I've been working on this comic book series called Ninja Fury. It's my own creation. Inspired by tokusatsu, Metal Heroes, and Power Rangers at the same time, but it's more like adult content for adults. A lot of swearing, a lot of, you know, reality moments, real life issues going on. My comic book is the ninja comic book. I love martial arts, I love action, and I think for the most part, I haven't drawn the characters down yet, but maybe in the future if I work with like Boom Studios or IDW, whichever comic book company they want me to do, you know, I want to show them my own style of art, whether it's manga or anime. Maybe, you know, I could just create my own comic company, you know, and just create my own comic, like be an independent comic, you know, being an independent artist. And I've seen most independent artists be, well, they have become more successful every single year. They've been the most successful independent comic artists that I've seen on the internet for a very long time. They didn't need to go to these, having them not sleep every day and can't eat. You gotta be on point. Like if you're being a comic artist, you know, that's the sad truth, but that's like the scariest part at the same time. So I think for me, my biggest worry is if I ended up, you know, putting out my own comic series, I won't be able to have time to do the things I love, you know. But as a business, you're gonna have to stay on it 24/7 in order to improve in your product. And you gotta be prepared to face criticisms, because criticisms do help your product to get better. Just saying.
Number that reduces usually the bigger and more popular the manga is. Eiichiro Oda, the author of One Piece and the biggest manga in the history of the world, is reported to on average sleep only 3 hours from 2 AM to 5 AM. Another source claims that these 3 hours actually consist of only 30-minute naps every 4 hours.
Come on.
So, why is time so limited? Well, you have to imagine creating a short story from start to finish, all within 1 week and all of the processes involved. After turning in the previous week's chapter on Sunday, the cycle begins anew, immediately. According to an anonymous mangaka's schedule, from noon on Sunday to 5 AM on Tuesday, it consists almost entirely of...
If you like getting 30 minutes of nap, 3 hours of sleep, that's like committing suicide. You're not allowed to sleep on your own time, but when you sleep on a company's time, when time is like limits, that is a red flag for me. That is a giant red flag for me. Because if I were to break for like at least 20 to 30 minutes, like I need some time to get myself fully prepared. I don't want to just sit on my tail all day drawing and everything because people might think something wrong with me. Yeah, if I were to, I'll probably try to improve in my artwork, in my YouTube channel. But the reality is that you can't even get those times to yourself.
Deciding on panels, what characters appear in each, the story of the chapter, how it ends, essentially planning out its entire structure. The only break in that long period of time is 2 hours for sleep and 1 hour for breakfast. That is, as long as you consider meetings with their editors as still work, of course. And you can tell from the rest of the week just how packed it is. Coloring the panels, shading, working on the final manuscript. Only 3 hours of free time exist in the entire week, excluding eating and sleeping, which are the bare necessities.
I mean, that
But again, to return to the idea of voluntary enslavement that I mentioned earlier, because it does seem rather harsh, we have to remember that it is voluntary. Mangakas, despite the terrible schedule, do this all for a reason. Yoshiro Togashi, the author of Hunter x Hunter, which is notorious for taking long periods of hiatus, stated that it has come to the point where either the story concludes first, or I die before that happens.
Whoa.
But I do intend to finish it.
For those who are watching my video right now, I want you to learn from this experience. Don't be these people. Because if you want to be an independent comic artist, you could just take time and in your own free time and just finish it on your own time, in your own choosing. These corporate companies having you sleep like 4 to 5 hours, that's not only insulting, but that could damage your health. I can't see myself doing stuff like this as a comic artist, because you're gonna need to work like countless hours to get this stuff done. I mean, you're gonna have to sacrifice everything, time and energy on one thing, your own product, to get it done. And what he just said, it's not only horrifying, but it's just depressing at the same time. Because if you're so focused on this one book for so long, this one franchise for so long, it almost gets to a point where you just want to move on from your own product and just create another franchise. I don't care how long it takes, you're gonna have your own free time. Like your body needs time to relax. And that is the main thing I'm concerned about going into this comic industry if I were to be a professional comic artist.
Considering Hunter x Hunter's current hiatus chart, lined with primarily breaks for the past years. But we can never underestimate the passion of a mangaka. Likewise, Oda told his current editor when he first joined to die for One Piece.
Oh man.
Mangakas are extremely dedicated to their crafts.
I bet they are.
Of course, sleep deprivation isn't the only cost of being a mangaka either. Sitting in a chair for so long working on manga leads to numerous health hazards. They can develop diabetes despite almost all mangakas being very skinny and almost frail. Tendinitis can develop in their hands from drawing so long, something that is so common amongst mangakas that it is...
A while back, you know, ZHC did a video on right hand having the cramps and everything, but it also starts from his forearm. So it causes like injuries to all the artists that go through the same pain, because whatever that pain was, I can't imagine going through the same thing, just drawing every single day, and you try to get through the art process, but then the pain just keeps rising up to the point where you're going to end up having high blood pressure. Because that happened to me when I was 15 years old in 2005, when my sister and my neighbor were sitting on the steps, and I missed 2 steps and my dislocated my left knee. My bone popped out for about this inch right here. I could hardly move. I was swearing up a storm, and it got to a point the pain became so severe that I ended up with high blood pressure for the rest of my life. That's why a lot of artists need to be careful of what they're drawing. Whether it's like, you know, anime, manga, Superman, or any other comic characters, or if you want to draw like David Finch, you got to be careful of working these timeless hours, because if you do that, like he said, it could cause health issues like diabetes. I never knew that if you draw so many times in your life, it could cause you to have diabetes. Now, it doesn't just come from eating a lot of sweets and everything. It comes from you not, you know, having enough sleep, and if you're like working like different types of issues or comic panels or whatever, that's exhausting. And plus, your anxiety levels, it gets even worse. So that's why, you know, you don't see me making art videos that much, because I'm trying to take my time working on my health first before I'm ready to create the biggest art content. Whether it's me every day or every 2 weeks. Just take your time doing stuff. And like you said, I never knew that you sitting in the same spot for hours, it could cause diabetes. I heard things about, you know, putting phones in your ear can cause cancer. Like, I heard so many like mixed signals from the media. Like, I'm not sure what to believe, but I do know this: if you're planning on doing stuff like this, take a few minutes of break, then come back and finish it. Unless you're making a YouTube video, you're gonna have to sit there for hours until that drawing is done. Not unless you edit some stuff out. Like, you gotta be on it.
Get it. They just accept it as a way of life. One of the members of Clamp, a female mangaka collective who created Cardcaptor Sakura, among other names, suffered from lumbar compression fracture in 2011 because she spent too many hours hunched over her chair and straining her back drawing.
Oh god.
Togashi.
And once again, I've been through the same thing. Like, I've been drawing like my whole life. I do this every single time. You know, if I'm drawing, I'm always arching my back if I want to get the certain areas done, crossed out or whatever. Like, I hate doing that as an artist, but you don't have no choice but to do it if you want to draw a good looking art picture. Because artists like myself do these things all the time. So I feel like I'm learning a lot from these videos.
Aggravated back pain that prevents him from consistently putting out chapters. Other series like Vagabond and Berserk, despite being some of the most highly rated manga of all time, also suffered an early fate due to health concerns of the authors. This culture of overworking yourself isn't exclusive to mangakas, however, as the concept of karoshi, death by overwork, is very prevalent across all of Japan.
Until they have so much.
In 2016, it was estimated that 1 in 5 workers were at risk of karoshi. This is so serious of an issue in the country, in fact, that the government passed a reform bill in 2018 that limited overtime and fined violators for overworking. Japan is a very collectivism-oriented country, prioritizing their group success over individual. Kona Shiomachi made an illustration in response to the 2015 death of an employee due to karoshi. The key line being,
Karoshi.
If I move 1 step further in front of the train, I wouldn't have to go to work tomorrow.
That's suicide.
The idea of karoshi is reflected in people dedicating themselves to their work and employers, to an extent that is often not just prioritizing group success over individual, but it comes at the cost of individual health as well, be it physical or just mental well-being. Kishimoto Masashi, the creator of Naruto, while the series was still being serialized, never had the time to take his wife on a honeymoon despite being married for 15 years.
My God, bro.
The
This is the kind of stuff that has me concerned if I were to be, you know, a professional comic artist. Like, I would want to spend so much time with my friends and family to make sure that everything is done with them before I get back into my craft. But dog, he spent like so much hours on Naruto rather than taking his wife on a honeymoon despite being married for 15 years. That is the worst thing you can do as an artist. Spend too much time on your own stuff, try to improve on your own craft, but you can't even like have the time to spend with your wife. That sucks.
An interview at San Diego Comic-Con on how his appearance at Comic-Con was far from a vacation, as he had to draw any chapters he missed before he went on the trip. Which, considering the anonymous typical schedule for a mangaka that we looked at earlier, I have no idea how he was able to fit it all in. Just another testament to a mangaka's dedication. And of course, these problems exist on the condition that the mangaka does make it. Their manga makes it into Shonen Jump or another renowned publisher, and they get popular. Because if they don't get popular enough, then they can't afford assistants, a valuable asset for any manga writer, and have to do all of the work themselves, filling in lines, backgrounds, shading, all of it on their own. The pay is also nearly criminal. The assistant to the writer of Prince of Tennis gave the figure at about $100 per page.
My God.
And though that could mean about this is before taxes and hiring assistants, which will of course detract heavily from it. Though it isn't terrible, relative to the insane schedule they have and overwork, it is certainly not comparatively enough. Getting an anime adaptation can also drastically improve the exposure and popularity of the manga. But then, as we see with One Piece for example, it is still far from easy. Oda is one of the most hard-working and overworked by extent mangakas out there. No matter how big your manga is, it is always rigorous and constant work.
Now, granted, back in 2009, this was when I was 18 at the time, I went on a school trip with my friends, just more at Pentagon City, and I've seen the Street Fighter 15 anniversary game that I wanted, so I got it. But I had no idea that it came with the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, but they censored it. They took out the naked Chun-Li scene. And I've always been fascinated with the artwork. The artwork has always been one of my favorite parts about the movie because one, I love manga, I love anime when it comes to art. But I think when it comes to old school anime art, it's the best than your modern one you have now.
All continues until your series finishes, whether it is of your own accord or not. Because it isn't just as simple as writing a chapter of one big book, but instead creating a new story every week that has to attract consistent attention and remain exciting and interesting.
Yeah, true.
Otherwise, if the fans don't like it, the company is quick to drop you. After all, there's no shortage of new manga coming out in Japan. They can always get someone else. On the other hand, in anime like Bakugan, we saw how the company pressured the mangaka to continue the series, despite the author feeling like it reached its natural end already. Sometimes companies will do this because the manga is so popular that they can't afford to lose it, which means that sometimes even the author of the series themselves don't have full control over their own story. However, this isn't a super common occurrence. We see authors like Tai Kubo who decided himself that he would draw Bleach to the conclusion he wanted, despite health concerns and critiques from the editors. Which is, again, another reminder that this enslavement is still voluntary at the end of the day. When you look at everything put together, it's a rather unavoidable problem. Be it due to collectivist cultural standards, karoshi, meeting deadlines, or just the mangaka's own desire to finish what they started, the process of creating manga is difficult, to say the least.
I want y'all to understand something. Being an artist is a lot of hard work. and dedication. You gotta put in a whole lot of time, a hell of a lot of time to get one picture done, one other picture done. One of the biggest things I learned about being an artist for so many years is that you need to put in a whole lot of time into it, spending countless hours on one picture, on certain areas, on every single painting or drawing that you do. Now for me, I'm not a fan of drawing backgrounds. I'm not a fan of drawing backgrounds because they take up a lot of time. I've always liked to draw one single character on paper, and unless you're doing the shadows on the bottom of that character, whether they're standing or doing the pose or whatever. That's what I've always done. And me being a comic artist, I would rather just become independent. My own background, my own colors, my own, stories, and I could just draw stories of it on my own if I wanted to. Because that right there is what I'm thinking about doing. And whether I make money off this or not, just know that my book will come out. Not on their time, but on my time, when it's ready to come out. It doesn't, come overnight. It takes time to get one story from another done. You know what I'm saying?
Hope as readers that the reward they get from working, creating something that resonates with us fans and succeeds is enough for them. Manga is truly the life work of anyone creating it, and so we do have to be grateful for everything they've done for us. What do you guys think of all this?
Alright, I think I'm gonna leave this here. If y'all want the original video, it will be in the description below. Like I said, y'all need to take heed for a minute. As an artist myself, I would never see myself doing countless hours on one picture, 24 hours, because I wouldn't have nothing else to do with my life. Because one, that is extremely embarrassing, as an artist to even go through something like that. That is at least the one thing I fear the most. Because I could end up in the hospital if I was dealing with art pictures like this. If my boss wanted me to continue on with this series without taking any breaks or taking more countless hours of rest, I would quit. I would just start my own, my comic company. I would give people more time to get themselves together and finish the work on their time. I wouldn't rush people like that because one, it causes health problems for one thing, and two, you're gonna become depressed so much to the point where so many suicide rates happen each year due to countless hours of work. Because one, you never had time for your family and for yourself. And your anxiety, like I said before, will run through the roof. Come on, y'all. Like, I'm trying to tell you something. I know I haven't been uploading videos for a while, but after watching this video, I think I have a reason not to. But don't worry though. Come January of 2022, the most detailed series will begin. I'm telling you right now. So I need y'all to keep on subscribing to this channel. So I appreciate y'all for supporting my channel and my content. Like I said, even if I don't upload on here that often, but this time I'm gonna upload like 5 videos every day on here, just to make sure I need to get to where I need to be. And don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, DHR2 Productions. So I will have the link to that channel in the description below, as well as this original video. So if y'all enjoyed my take on this situation, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to follow me on social medias as well. It will be in the description also. So yeah, Ranger R93 here. I'm out of here. Happy New Year, y'all.